not sure that that's going to be any better or any worse, but we're going to find out. So we'll try it again. You know how some of this stuff is. It's just crazy. Technology is great when it works. Great when it works. I always like to leave myself a little extra to where I can trim it. Three more of these, and we can do a couple of feedbacks, get those out of the way. We can start having some real fun. I've already got the transistors already set, so that part's all done and out of the way. Ugh. Okay. It's now notifying me that my that we're doing YouTube. try something here. Well, apparently I'm not going to be able to see comments tonight.
Alrighty, guys. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on the circumstances, or evening.
I don't know. I digress, guys. I have no idea. Aha, there we go. But I don't know why it's the way it is right now. That's odd. That is quite odd. But I did figure out how to do it, so. All right. Good evening, Gary. 3, Tracy. Yeah. I at least got the comments working. It's not in the same normal format, but I did get those back online, so who knows? At least we've got it where we can see what's going on and see everybody that's talking. Show you the cowboy hat. Maybe another day. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is something that I've been trying to get myself more in line with as far as on doing some of this, which is actually making more parts than I need at one time. There's some of these orders that are coming in faster than I can actually, do the builds for. And then work has been absolutely insane here the last 3 weeks, especially. On my end, you wouldn't know that it's actually slowed down as far as on the car industry, but wow, I know I have been busy, besides just here in the shop. I've still got a couple of conversions to do, some new equipment. So tomorrow I will be doing a review on a radio after I've unboxed and set one up. Which is one of these. This way. So haven't had one of these across the workbench yet. So one of my local customers that lowers about 3 or 4 amps at a time, he brought this over, asked me if I could go ahead and work my magic on it and do a conversion on it because he wants to try this out and see what he thinks. So told him, sure. So he's brought it to me. We're going to open it up. We're going to take a look on the inside and see what's going on. So this is going to be one of those. It's going to be an upcoming deal for tomorrow. Yep. Yes, I can see what you're saying now. Oh, Lord. Just wait, 3. Just wait, buddy. I'll make sure every label you order from here on out turns out pink. Which, speaking of which, your order will go out on Monday. I was too exhausted last night to get everything put in an envelope and shipped to you. But, I got your labels. Are still actually laying in the front seat of the car, but I'll get those set up tomorrow. And like I said, they'll go out first thing Monday with the rest of my orders. Okay. Well, we got that. Set a pair of those off to the side. Put these in a little container that I've got here on the wall. Like I said, it's going to be a goal of mine anyways to go ahead and start making up, like I said, just some of the small stuff like, the Class C chokes. In this case, that these are for the Class AB. It's more of a Class B than it is a Class A. That's typically used on the HGs. The Class A, they run just a hair too hot. And they don't like as much bias as what a typical Toshiba will. So, I've come up with a pretty decent formulated point. They are still just what they are. They're a transistor that is Chinese made, but they work much different than what everybody's used to and has seen for the last 30 years. So, we've found different temperaments that the transistors like and, seem to be happy with. So that's part of the reason why we run it the way we've got here as far as with some of the biasing. I've got a couple different amplifiers that I've had biased now for going on. Well, one of them, it's the only one I think I've got left now. I've had biased for the last 4 years that I've ran here on the workbench and, still doing great. So that's kind of the reason why we've decided to stay with the format that we've got. And we've got these chokes that are ready to go for this. Got a few extra. Even if it is just a couple, still we got a few extra. We're going to go ahead and do some of the feedback circuits, get those out of the way, and then the real fun begins. Okay. And we'll pull a handful of those out. Whatever's left, we'll put back. Mary Kay car hit the small box. Gray, LOL. Yeah, think those are what it's supposed to have in it is the RT1s. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure. Gotta have the annoying echo. Yeah, I'm kind of reading upwards a little bit too. Warren Scott, BBI. A pink Chevy. Oh, Lord. Yeah, I'm not going to comment. I had an evil thought. Yep, definitely had an evil thought for a moment. Okay. Still got one made up from the last time. Yeah, I got a new subscriber. Cool. Thank you for subscribing. No, no cards. Today was one of those days, besides it being a little cool in here, like a lot of other people, just kind of, missing the parents type thing, even though it's been, many years, still miss them, and this was actually one of my father's favorite types of shirt to wear. So, it's one that I've had for some time now. He always did like it. So, matter of fact, I've got a couple of his that are similar. I think that's part of the reason why I just went ahead and pulled it out today. Good evening, Popcorn. Oh, good God. It's crazy. It's just warm enough in here. We've got flies now. They're starting in. It's the only thing I don't like about spring or summer. Brings out all the dead blasted bugs. Got him. Well, he won't be pestering anybody. Well, you know, if you'd take a bath once in a while, you wouldn't have to worry about the gnats. You do realize that, right? Everything's going pretty good, Donnie. 3's feeling his oats tonight. I'm going to try to go and see my sign guy later this week. I've got some other stuff I'm getting ready to have made up. I think you guys are going to enjoy. Also, I got notification that some of the new cabinets I ordered, they are in. Not necessarily here, but they are en route. They have made it to the U.S. So hopefully those will be here, hopefully before this next weekend. But anyways, going back to the sign guy, I'm going to try to go see him one day next week and see about getting some shirts made up. If you guys might be interested. I've got kind of a cool design that's going to be coming up here. That I think you guys are going to like. I'll probably have about a dozen of them made up to start with, and then see what you guys think and kind of go from there. Of course, I have to figure out what size Early wears, because that way I can get him one made up, send him one. Somewhere I've got a 3 made shirt that he sent me. Yeah, Pigpen over here. Yeah. I guess that's what we're going to have to start calling you, 3. Switch you to Pigpen. All right, so we got one more, and I'll just put those up and worry about feedbacks later because I've got more than an adequate amount to take care of a couple of 4 pills. But I know there's a few guys that they like watching this stuff and trying to figure out better methods. And I'm not saying this is a better method, but it is a method that does work. I did one that it's kind of a hook and loop. But anyways, let's see if you can do it here a little closer to the camera. But anyways, what I do is I actually start out with both of them at 90 degrees. Hopefully it's not too blurry. Now I get my spacing away just a little bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch. And I'll start bringing it up and over, and always pushing it this direction. The reason why is that way I can get at least 3 good loops, and then the rest of this, since I'm going to cut it off, we don't care. We're just going to twist it there so it's out of the way. So I don't know if it's going to show up very well or not. Focus. Had it in there for a second. Focus. Come on, camera. Yeah, hopefully you can see it. All right. Let's go ahead and put the rest of these up for right now. I know my little bin that I usually have those 100 ohms in, getting kind of low. That's the reason why I grabbed the bag a while ago. Charles, you in there tonight, buddy? I think you were a while ago. Yep, you're in there. Well, anyways, that pallet you see sitting back behind here, you are the only guy that I know of that keeps a retainer with me. Why, I have no idea. But you buy more amps than I know what to do with. Either that or you just let too damn many people talk you out of them. But that one's yours, big guy. Yeah, usually what I try to do is I try to put 3 really nice, clean, tight wraps up there towards the top, and then the rest of it, since it's going to get cut off anyways, that's the reason why I'm not too concerned with what the rest of that looks like throughout the course of making the feedbacks. I finally got a pretty close formulation as far as with all the different pliers and benders and things that I've got over here, that I've been able to come up with a pretty decent format that allows me to keep these made the same. No, I haven't. I have looked at that and I have studied it. I know that there are several different varieties of the LD moss that is out there, and I have very seriously considered it. You know, I think that there's a couple guys out there right now that you know, are actually making some LD moss boards that definitely will work for the you know, for the needs. Should have just went ahead and clipped that one off while I was there. You know, but I'm, you know, after everybody has went through and has really pushed and pushed and pushed towards the LD moss, it is something that I've considered. You know, we've got a lot better methods now that people have went through and got everything figured out on. So I do have some other transistors that I do want to play with later on this year. It's the reason why I'm not quite finished taking stuff for this year, but I have quit taking all the radios because I've got, right now I'm stacked up to the end of this year already just with radios. You know, with some of the new stuff that I've got coming out myself, you know, basically I'm doing stuff in small stages. You know, just trying to get everything, you know, trying to get everything to that point where I can start going back and, you know, coming up with some different formulas for some of the builds that's going on and that people have been asking about. For example, it's been a really big push as far as going into the biasing, and whether it's AEM or whether it's Class C for you know, Class C / AEM, or for sideband. Most everybody knows that, truthfully, a biased amplifier, you know, is one of the cleanest amps that's made. So that's kind of the reason why we're going, you know, going and pushing towards this. You know, there will be next year, I will probably go ahead, if I've got enough time, to play with some of the other you know, attributes that I'm looking into on amplifiers. There will probably be a second gen on these. Yeah, I seen that. You know, Sharky's got that. I would say out of all of them I have seen so far, his has impressed me the most. You know, there's 2 or 3 other guys that, you know, claim to have, you know, the best and what have you, but too much of it looks, I'm not going to say wrong, but it doesn't look like what I'm looking for. But I did see the other day whenever he put out that video, and like I said, I was, you know, I thought it was quite interesting. I think he gave a very good presentation on that. I definitely like the idea with the water cooling that he's got going on with the one. Probably the only thing that I would have changed on that one is I'd have probably still used a little bit larger base as far as for the water cooled jacket. But that's just, me personally. I know that there's a lot of ins and outs on that. The other side of that too is setting them up for radio, because it's not the fact that the transistor itself is not a good stable transistor. It's the fact that we've got so many people that are wanting to force them to take way more drive than is needed, in order to go ahead and get them up, because they see an extra couple hundred watts. And unfortunately, that is probably your biggest thing. Is trying to set the attenuation on the input in order to go ahead and run with the particular setup that you want. That's probably the biggest hurdle that I have seen in relationship to building with the LD MOS. Is you've got people that they say, oh, well, I'm just going to be running a Cobra 29 and it does XYZ power. Okay, great. So they set the input attenuation to however many dBs that is required for that kind of an input, whether it be 3, 5, 10 dB down, whatever the case may be, as far as for the attenuation. And I like the idea of the LD MOS, not necessarily for mobile application, but for a base application. I think that it's still a good, viable option. Like I said, so far from what little I've seen as far as with the video and with talking with a couple other people that are involved with amp building as well, it's just some of the different hurdles. Some people have really went deep into the LD MOS. And granted, once you actually have the palette, you have everything built, it's actually fairly economical to maintain. You've only got one transistor. I use the term loosely because of the way it's designed. But you've only got one that you have to worry about that is already, it's already made. And ready to go. So you don't have a whole lot of extra circuitry like you do with 4, 6, 8, 10, what have you. Let's see here. Yeah, you're funny on that one, 3. Calls them fuses. Yeah, $200 fuses. That's a pretty close from what I've seen. No, as far as with the 2879s, they will not handle that high a frequency. Theoretically, which I've not went up as far as up to like 30 megahertz with them. But these are if you will, designed for. These are really designed for us. Is really what it amounts to. Even though that they say that they can go from from 0 to 30 megahertz or something of that nature. That's about as far as these will go. There are other transistors that are viable options, and that's something else that I wanted to try to get into. It'll probably be this fall because I've had several requests for some 2-meter amplifiers. So that is something that is on the horizon. Right now, I've got to get all this other stuff caught up before I get to those projects. Which, going into some of the new stuff that I've got coming up, that I've got on order right now, I've dug very, very deep in my pocket this year. Beyond what the scope of the shop itself actually produces. And I've actually added, out of my own pocket, I have added about $10,000 worth of inventory. That's not counting like, the KC901 spectrum analyzer. Well, that's what I've been using it a lot for here lately. But the KC901 meter, that has been a huge help as far as with some of the developments that I have come across, especially considering the archaic methods that I have used for many years. Because a lot of people don't realize that, you can still use some of the old technology, and I'm grateful to have learned what I have learned with some of the older technology, especially when you're dealing with, for example, you're dealing with, the old, oh shoot, isn't that awful? Got it right there on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of what it is. Grid dip meters. That's what I was trying to think of. So, we've come a long way from grid dip meters from back in the 60s and 70s, which, that was, cutting edge technology at that time. Most of the older people that built amplifiers when I was a very, very young man, still actually use that. So that was part of the reason why I learned how I've learned, is based on the old technology. So some of it, because I have learned that way, it's difficult sometimes to look at it in a format of, okay, well, this new technology will do it this way, and will give you a lot more readings, give you more results, as far as a whole. And, that's kind of where we're at right now. Come on, let go of the finger. But the 2-meter, that'll probably be one of the next ones that I play with. The only thing is I've got to buy more meters that right now I currently don't have. I've got a few, but not any of them that go high enough in the power bands. So, and I've already got somewhere around $2,000 for the bird slugs. So you're looking at putting a few $100s more into a couple of different slugs that will cover the frequency span on that. So, like I said, it's just little stuff that, will be coming up. It's just going to be, a little bit down the road yet. You get 3 to 5 calls a week that wants to do what on a 32 pill? Okay. There we go. Well, I can read the last little bit of it. Yeah, like I said, on the 2 meter, that's one of the biggest things that I've seen too, because I've got one that I've had on the 2 meter side of it. I think I've had it for, geez, oh Pete's, like 25 years. And it's set up with an attenuation of only, uh, I think the most you can put in is a watt, maybe a watt and a half max. But yeah, that's the biggest, that's probably going to be the biggest thing that I've seen is they don't have the circuitry set up to be able to take at least 5 or 10 watts in. And that's something that I'm going to try to look into as well with some experimentation. But like I said, we got to get everything else caught up and probably just have to quit taking orders long enough to, sit down and come up with some of the new developments. So, it's stuff that's coming. It's going to take time, All right. So we got these done. Leave those 4 out. Put these back. How you doing? How you doing? I'm doing good. Feedbacks. Takes a long time to make them. For sure. Yes, that is for FM. So it's a whole different ball of wax. Alrighty. Yeah, there's a lot of different ones out there that will let you go down a little lower. I think the ICOM 2800, just for an example, which granted there again, it's an old radio. The ICOM, 2800, which is one of my first 2 meters that I ever owned. I still have. It's got 4 settings on it. You've got low, medium, high, and high. And I think all the way down, I think it will do 2 watts. But for my location where I'm at, most of the time I need a minimum of 50 to about 150 watts in order to go ahead and get into some of the different repeaters from where I'm located. So go. Yeah. Yeah, most of the radios, I mean, typically is designed around the yeah, most of the radios are designed around about a 50 watt, but they've usually got at least 2 to 3 presets, and like I said, that's one of them that I've been asked about. We're definitely going to go ahead and look into. Another one of those. I've got to get some more of these done too, guys. Just it takes hours and hours. Mr. D, good evening time. And this is some new film type that I've been playing around with, and to help keep the boards looking nice and pretty, and everything during the build. It just makes cleanup a lot easier. Which, I mean, you guys have seen me in the past too, where I've went through the painstaking aggravation of taping it up, but the tape in general is incredibly expensive. Well, I found a new product online. It's not a new concept, just a new product, and thought, hey, let's try that. So, been doing a little bit of experimenting with it and come up with this stuff here, and I think I'm going to like it. Sticks well enough for what I want it to do. coating that I've been using on these boards here, it takes a lot more time to solder everything, but been pretty happy with it out of about a dozen I've built so far. I hear you, Gary. Can't shake hands, huh? Like a Jewish rabbi. I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or an insult.
Burger, do how about it, Frosty? How about it down there? Oh, yeah, how about that, Frosty? How about that Bully Bull? That Bully Buster, come on. Old Blue, Southern Indiana, waving a hand.
The locals are trying.
How about that, Frosty? Frosty, Old Blue, Southern Indiana, waving a hand. Old Frosty and Blue's trying to roll you a nickel. How about it? Come on.
Let's try 23. We've got a few that sometimes hang out this time of the night on channel 23. Do. Yeah, I wish they would too. Sometimes those conditions hit right where you and I can actually have a conversation down there, Charles, all the way down there in Mississippi. Yeah, 3, you're always funny, at least in your own mind, bub. Yeah, the last couple times that I have put a couple of these amps together, if I use this format, it makes life so much easier to put these down first than doing it the way I have in the past a couple different times, which is very frustrating, which is fishing them in through the back side of the transformer. So actually, let's do this right here. Let's go ahead and pretend these. Yeah, the last 2 times I've ordered solder, I thought I ordered the larger stuff, and it all came in this real small. So I've actually got that partial roll out. I've taken it in another full roll, and I've been pulling it out about 4 feet at a time, twisting it together, tacking it back together, and rolling it on a spool. So I've got some already set up. For the little stuff, I'm going to try to just keep burning away on it, a little at a time. At least that's our goal. can flow that out here a little bit better here in a minute. Yeah, it's she said jokes. You finally got it 3. It's all right. At least you keep everybody entertained. Get a Metcal. I don't know if I would be interested in one of those or not myself, but I'd have to try one. I guess. All right. There we go. Yeah, depending on the iron, when you get into stuff like that, guys, yeah, it becomes challenging without a really good iron. It makes all the difference in the world. Give me a second here, guys. Be right back. All right. Let's see. Let's get some capacitors here going. Just about out of all the ones that I've got dots on where I've matched them up based on the capacitance. So that's what I'm doing. Is I've got some of these I've got wrote in pencil, so I know exactly what I've got. There we go. Those two are going to be close enough. On the one pill, it's easy. You just grab one and put it in there. It's good. So you're going to have a 2x4 or 2x8 build, huh, Gary? I do have a Weller. I mean, that's what I've used for years. as a weller. And I've got that one, and then I've got my big one. Most of the time I use the small one for everything. It's easier to handle. One day you will have a driver. Truth be told, that's probably what you're going to use this for, as a driver. I think down there in Mississippi, I think that you guys have the highest concentrate of Rainmaker amps than any place else in the country. Yeah, Charles, he's been after me to go ahead and get into the steel format. And I've thought about it, but at this time, I have got quite a bit on my plate. Just a little bit more. I was actually hoping to get into that sometime this year, but it's probably going to be next year before I get involved on that. We've got the LD Moss. I've got, like I said, some other transistors that I'm wanting to play with, and kind of see what results I get out of them. And then we can kind of go from that point forward. Yeah, depending on the power and what you're planning on doing with it, steel definitely has its merits. Usually if you're going anything larger, as far as at the house, if you're going for anything larger than truthfully, anything larger than about an 8-pill base or maybe a 12-pill, something of that nature. If you're looking at going any larger at that point, I've wound up actually talking myself out of sales because of it. Where I've talked people into just holding out just a little longer, spending the extra money and get a steel tube. You've got a lot longer carrier time that's going to be available to you with it. You've got the carrier time. I mean, that's a lot of it. The fact that you've got a little bit more resilience to if your SWR is off. They're a lot more resilient than your typical amp. Yeah, your neighbor should have his back by now. I don't know if you spoke with him since then or not, but your neighbor should have his amplifier back. Well, if you want, we can. We can have graphics made up for hot pink if you want. I actually had the sign guy, whenever 3 got his stickers, I had him go ahead and print off some extras that actually were pink, just to mess with him. For some reason, though, he just didn't see the humor in it, and I don't know why. Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll let people see that comment. Joe Biden pink. Oh, Lord. Only you. There we go. Empty this trash out here. I'll wind up knocking that over. If you get thirsty, there's stuff in the refrigerator too. Help yourself if you get thirsty. Got an empty bed. Yeah, I'm joking around with a very long time friend of mine, Mr. J, who come over to and just kind of hang out and watch me do my thing here, guys. I'll show a 3. That way he can see what you're talking about. Uh-huh.
It's called Awful Awful Ugly Myth. And they tell you where they've been doing this for almost 3 years. And it's a family style. They have prayer places, they have prayer in there, and it's really cool. It's on the head anybody. Yeah, it's really pretty cool. They get over here and at least one person. It's really pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
I think I'll put up a reception.
Mm-hmm.
I'm There's a lot about this stuff.
Okay. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, let's get some. Figuring out what I want to put in first or next. As long as we don't miss any steps, we're good, guys. Okay. What in the world are you guys saying here? You'll have to send 3, huh? Well, 3 will forget by the time he gets here. He doesn't remember half the time where he put his car keys. But he can't keep his finger out of his ear either. But I'll give 3 credit. I mean, he has been trying real hard here lately. He's stepped out of his shell. He's been doing a couple of live feeds, testing the waters. Slid out of my fingers. And this is the reason why I use hemostats most of the time, guys. I'm sure you guys have probably noticed here lately, as far as some of the different, materials that I use versus some of the other builders, and a lot of it is, I've done it, a certain way, for a very long time, and I have, progressed as time goes on. Of course, I also have one other unique feature about me than most amp builders, and the fact that I also do radios. So, although it's been really hard here lately to get a radio from me. However, in the quest of knowledge and the quest of making, things, as good as I can make them, and still stay within, retrospect to a price margin, that the average person can still purchase. Just for an example, these little 0.1 capacitors that I'm putting here to ground. Did you know that depending on what composition and what makeup that you purchase these in, greatly changes the factor of, for example, noise. Noise has always been the biggest thing that everybody has tried to fight against, and keep that nice, clean, crisp sound, whether it be, transmit, or whether it be on the receive, or what have you. Well, anyways, these are actually made by Panasonic. They're not made of some of the same materials on the inside. They're great for where they're located. But now, for example, if you use these for part of a push-pull configuration, they're not adequate enough due to the RF. but it has to do where the RF is setting at. Now, in this particular area, since we're coming off of our main feed line here, these are absolutely wonderful because of the fact that they have the highest reduction rate on, typically electromagnetic or static noise that comes in off of an AC, or I shouldn't say AC, but a DC power line that goes into feeding your transistors. So that's part of the reason why you've seen, a little bit of a change, or I've went away from the old, standard disc capacitors. These have got, great formats, and they're great for a lot of applications, and they're still adequate for, this particular application as well. But these, because of the fact that these are a metal polymer, I'd have to go back and look at the full specifications as far as that goes. But they use different compositions in order to go ahead and help essentially filter out any of the noise. And again, it also brings things back into proportion during your push-pull application of the transistors here. So, like I said, just another one of those that's, it costs a little bit more, but you're only talking a couple of pennies, versus a couple of dollars. What do we got here? What have I missed out on, guys? D-Man forgot again. Oh. Now, I don't know how in the heck mowers got into this, but all right. With you, it's hard telling 3. All right, so let's get some wire down. So we're going to come here, go up to our biasing. All right, let me see here. Trying to think which way I want to go on this, where it's a little different. You like this?
Yes.
I just used that to block some water earlier. Box here. No, with 3, you never know. I don't like that pretending to run the radar. Yeah, I remember back whenever I used to build the police cars and put all the radios and the equipment in those. Oh my God. The company I worked for was right on the main highway. And to prove a point, to the, to the owner, because oh my God, I submitted the bid, but I put in there that I offered the, I offered the city a 1-year warranty on my work because nobody else did. And that's part of the reason why we got the bid. We came in about $200 higher, but they had so many problems from the previous people that had been, putting the cars together that, they're kind of fed up with it. And I had told my boss, I said, look, I'll go one step further, because he threw a fit whenever he realized, as far as in my proposal, what I had listed. I said, they have a problem within a year of me building the car. I said, anything to do with the wiring, excluding, blowing a fuse. I said, I'll fix it out of my own pocket on my own time. Well, he was mortifiably shocked whenever I had offered that, and then kind of backed up whenever I was willing to do that. Anyways, going along with the story, what I had done, because they wanted to know, well, how long they could run, for example, their lights, because the other company, that was the biggest thing. I told them, I said, look, you guys are out there. Your life is literally on the line, for example, when you're directing traffic. I said, a lot of people don't think about that portion of it, but when you're in the middle of an intersection and the lights are going on your car and suddenly they stop. And I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you or not, Gary, but I'd seen that happen many, many times. And I sit there where I already repaired several cars and what have you. I've seen the type of wiring, I've seen the size of the wiring. It's not just amplifiers that you're looking at when you're looking at different gauges and this and this, and and there's even a big difference between DC wiring and AC wiring, because AC wiring typically is a lot dirtier copper. That's one of the big things, is it's not as refined. Typically it has more steel in it, just a lot more trash metal, but they can get by with that because of what it is. It's only on for so many milliseconds during the cycle, so it has time to cool, so the wire actually has time to cool down. Well, in the application of you guys being out on the highway directing traffic or something, one of their officers nearly got hit one day because his lights went out. So he had no bar up on top or anything else, for people to see that he was out there directing traffic in the middle of this. So I went on a quest and I sat down and I built the ultimate car. The only other thing that I didn't add that, I told him I could go ahead and wire in at the time was, the auxiliary battery. But I had already formulated up the car whenever I was building it where they could go ahead and add a secondary battery, so that even in case of an accident, car gets flipped, what have you. The battery under the hood gets damaged. They could go ahead and be able to still have electric, where if nothing else, they could either flip a toggle switch or what have you. Whatever was left of the lights would work. Same thing with the console, so that they had the radios, multiple different things. But what they were having problems with was they were running a 10 gauge wire, and back then, it was still the old, what I call the bubble lights. So it just went round and round in circles instead of the LEDs that we have today. But, because of that, with the lights and everything and all the different, semantics that go on with that, we went ahead and, pulled out the 10 gauge AC wire that they were using, and I calculated it up based on the amount of lights that they had in the bar and all that. And, they were drawing, roughly around 54 amps. Well, 54 amps on a 10 gauge wire that's meant for household wiring is a little small. That's one of them. That's one thing. And then the secondary thing is the fact that they were using some very, very cheap resettable breakers. As soon as they started rusting, they caused problems. As soon as they overheated, they caused problems because of the fact that they were trying to draw 50 amps through a 30 amp breaker. That's no big deal. That's shouldn't be, too good of math whenever you're sitting there calculating that. But anyhow, so, I sit down and I ran, 2 multi-gauge wires into the vehicle. One that was specific just for the light bar itself, another one for the primary console so that everything was fed properly. And lo and behold, I took the car, I set it out in the parking lot right up by the highway. And I had the whole thing going full bore for like an hour. And it was hilarious because, you'd see people as soon as they come up over the little crest of the hill, you'd see them starting to jam on the brakes because, they've got, lights going off. Everybody's flipping out, not knowing what's going on, and there was no more wrecks that day. The other thing is whenever they came to pick up their car, they'd ask me how long it had been running, and I looked at my watch at that time, and it was like an hour and a half. And I said, well, I've already, went 3 times longer than what, anything that the other guys could go before, with a fresh build on theirs versus the way I did it, and that pretty much sold them as far as on the deal. Of course, I set up the cars with all the same color codes and what have you. So any parts that were or went bad, wasn't hard to actually go back through and rework. So, just a lot of little things like that people, really don't take into consideration as far as, just putting the right stuff in there can, make or break it. I'm sorry, but, if your life's out there on the line under certain circumstances, you want to know that your equipment's going to work. It's kind of like taking a gun to work with no bullets. The gun's great. Might shoot better than anything else on the planet. But if you forget to load it, well, yeah. So anyhow, that's enough there. We've rambled on. Let me grab some more parts for the biasing. We're going to get those laid down. Then we're going to start running our transformers. So, yeah, I was just trying to pick up girls. No, not exactly. I don't know what I'm going to do with people like you three. Tell you what, I've went through a lot of resistors here the last couple of months, guys. I think it's time for a beer. Yep. Well, see, I had a fusible link, and then I also had a bypass link in there. Where the technology that they were using was okay, but they had it in a place where it basically got wet all the time. But I actually set up with two systems, to the light bar specifically, just to make sure that we never had to worry about them overheating the wire, which they actually did have one car that caught part of the carpet on fire because of anyways. So that was one of the one of the little things, but I just tried to make sure that everything was in a format to where even if something went bad, they could flip another switch or what have you, and the auxiliary could kick on. But these guys were, back then whenever I was doing it, they were pretty hard on their cars. The Interstate makes a heck of a battery that'll let you do that, that's for sure. Let's see what that was. Okay. All right, Gary, have a great evening, buddy. Take care and God bless. Be safe out there. I wish I was rich like that 3 made. Man, he goes to Florida every time you turn around. He's on vacation as much as Joe Biden is. Good night, Gary.
When he's on vacation, when he's in the White House. He knows him.
Exactly.
He was like a little bit.
And to think that's just to the country. Do. Just enough adhesive to hold it in place or tack it in place long enough for me to get everything else around it. I was wondering how long it's going to take you to comment on that 3. Yeah, I know the reason why you wind up going down there. Mm. I also know it's not always by choice either. Yeah, I know what that's supposed to say. Yeah, if I had 3's money, I could use it as toilet paper too. Okay. Come on, baby, get in there. Yeah, I know 3, he doesn't like doing the biasing, but I actually find where I've gotten to where I kind of enjoy doing the biasing myself. I can't believe that you would say that about your own brother Joe. Truth be told, Joe was probably the one to run over your mailbox, you know. Yeah, that works great for solder. Not. Cut a little more off of that. Just a little teeny tiny speck. There we go. Don't think that causing any problems. All right, Dallas, you take care, buddy. Thanks for watching and popping in. Oh, Charles, I know you and I had talked about something here a couple of weeks ago, and I do have that on order. I'm not sure how long it'll take before it is ready, but I did go ahead and put in a request for it. So it's one of those that I'll not say a whole lot about it, but if you'll think back about something that you said you go in halves with me on, I've got it on order. You going to bed on me, 3? Or are you telling somebody good night? Oh, you're telling Dallas good night. Okay. Okay. My little radio's been quiet. I'll go back up to 28. Oh, something trying. Way out in the distance. Yeah, the company that I've been purchasing my relays through actually contacted me here earlier this week, wanting to know if I was ready for another order. I've already placed 2 of them this year with them, which, you know, I thought I had bought enough to last me for, 6 months. I don't think I have with the way things have been going, but I got the 3 primaries from them. For most of all of our applications, that's the 30 amp relay, which I didn't buy, but maybe a dozen of those. The one that you're seeing me use the most is that one. And then for, the Class C and just the repair part of it, I have their 2-pole. So, 2 of them are 2-pole. That one's 3-pole, which that one I'm using primarily for biased circuits. But, like I said, these are 3 of them that they've got. Granted, it looks like normal everyday stuff, but it has to do with the brand. If I can get that focus here. Get some of that light off, maybe. Came in, there it is. So it's kind of nice because they come in a nice little tray just like this. But what got me started was actually on the hunt of the 30 amp relays like this, which I did find another supplier that actually makes this same relay. The other ones are slightly longer than what these are, but they're actually really good relays. So, you know, I know a lot of builders have used these a lot here lately, and, you know, I'm no exception. I like using those as well. Okay. Another layer off. Yeah, 2-pill relays, speaking of which we did earlier today. You know, which, like I said, same company, it's just these are orange instead of the black ones, you know, that I was getting. But the company that I was buying my 8 amp relays from here, for whatever reason, you know, they raised the price almost double. So I found another supplier, same part number, same relay, same specifications, and you know, the only difference is they're orange instead of black. But you know, I've got about 40 or 50 relays. And believe it or not, those are actually heavy, more than heavy enough to actually run a 4-pill. Technically, you can run a 4-pill on that all day long, or a 1x4. You know, shoot, you know, back in the day, it was No Name amps. That's probably where I've seen the most of them at, as far as in the 4-pill configuration. Now, he actually used a 5 amp relay for all of his. So, you know, and there are several of those that many years later are still in production. Excuse me, still in use. So, all right, let me cut some wire here for that. Yeah, it's getting kind of chilly out there.
Yeah, it's, yeah, I wish I'd worn a heavier coat.
I can fix that somewhat.
At least you've got some very.
Yeah.
Really tough.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to deal with that 12-inch thick floors and 12-inch thick walls.
Now the floor is 3 feet thick,
3
and
feet
the walls are 2 feet.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know how you saw that.
Yeah.
One very long drill.
Yep. Exactly.
That.
All right, let me get some ferrite here for that.
Here, here's our new box.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another pan here.
Yeah.
Okay. It has 1, 2, 3 empty spaces. Where there's 2 TV and not here, 2 bedrooms.
Okay.
I did this in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
I have no breakers. So when I go in and put my own breakers in,
Yeah.
and run the conduit.
Yeah, if you need help, let me know.
I know Turkey was saying that if I wanted to design something,
Mm-hmm.
give him what I want. He's got people he works with.
Mhm. All right, guys, give me just a second here. Whew. All righty. Hmm? Yeah.
You got to work. You can't. It shows that one.
Yeah.
I couldn't hit. He showed me this plate stamp. Some 45 grams. 8 grams. Miles of grams. Dead. Holes punched through this. And it literally melted the metal. Literally, because there's a run where the metal literally melted.
Wow.
That's hot. That's at least 28 degrees Fahrenheit. 26 to 28 degrees. Because you gotta have it way up there.
Mm-hmm. If you need some 30 amp relays, 3, if you don't find what you need, let me know, and I'll because I've got a substantial stash at the moment. Because I have to order pretty large quantities in order to go ahead and have them, ship me specific relays, depending on how many you want. Typically, it takes 2 to 3 weeks after I place the order, since they are coming from halfway around the world. But I have, been getting into a little more in depth as far as some of the different parts and, doing sourcing. And it's, it can get complicated and it can get very, very costly, unless you've got somebody or a couple different people to go ahead and go in with you. For example, to get a little bit better price, so that I can stay, competitive. I ordered, direct the other day from, Mr. North, and had ordered about 120 transistors, in order to get a little bit better price. So, it's one of those that I got to be careful because I can overspend real quickly. But I've got enough stock that I can actually sell some of what I've got and still be fine for, pretty good duration. So, These are all 454s, and this is the 2879s. But yeah, I do have a few on hand. The 2879s, I've only been pulling about 20 at a time and putting in here, and then the rest of them, I've got to put up for the time being. Yeah, I'll tell you, that's probably been, out of everything that I have dealt with in the last 4 or 5 years, I think that definitely has got to be one of my favorite transistors that I've played with here recently. And I've had quite a few calls for them, actually. They don't require as much input drive to, get decent power. And, granted, they still don't put out as much as a 2879, but they do put out some good wattage. But I know this month I have already placed an order with Luke as far as on some more transformers where I'm getting kind of low. Come on, baby. There you go. think when I made these, I think I was thinking of the large transformers. I think that's the reason why I get so much extra this go around. But these are still long enough I can actually turn these into Class C chokes too.
Does the Brownstein get sleeves?
You what?
Does the Brownstein get sleeves?
That's
And they can't.
mm-hmm.
Really?
Sure can.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what they got.
They've got wraps. They've got all different varieties of sandwiches. Just whatever looks good. Mm-hmm.
You know what you want, they get you.
I don't know, whatever sounds good.
I don't know what you want.
Food.
Pretty piece.
Yeah, I'm not picky. You know, they've even got pizza if you want to stick a pizza in the oven. Of course, those are kind of a rarity late this night as far as what they have left.
Right. All right.
If you need more, let me know.
No, I'm good. Yeah, see what I can come up with.
312 may be asleep. You never know. He hasn't said anything in a while.
Okay, you got some information.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you. Okay. Some solder here. Yes, actually, I got one yesterday and one came today on that, Charles. I haven't opened them yet, but you know, when the first one came in, it was the really light one, and it's like, okay, what's this? And I hadn't had a chance to open it, and then the other one came in today, and I know what it is because it's like a block of lead. I was expecting one, you know, just one package. That's the reason why, you know, when the other one came in yesterday, it's like, okay, this must be made different or something, you know. But yeah, it's all good. Like I said, I'll get to it eventually as far as to open up the package. Yeah. Yeah, that's ludicrous too to hear that. You know? You know? Yeah, to be able to play with him, yeah, I don't know much about it either, but just because of who he is, I'd like to play around with him myself, just to say that I did. Well, I don't know where that one went. I'm sure it'll find its way back sooner or later. Let me get you guys a little bit more in the frame here. I can tell where your brain is. Definitely tell where old three's brain is. Yeah, she'd kick your ass, 3. On or off the court. Yeah. Yeah, that probably would be about right, buddy. That probably would be about right. Chances are, though, you'd have performance issues at that point. Go. And those are going to stay right in place where we want them. That'll work for what I want. Come on, baby. There you go. Yeah. I hear you. You'd still be there. Okay. Let's go ahead and tin that little spot there. All right, 312. Take care, buddy. We'll catch you later. Have a great evening. Peeled off. I think I'm going to be able to reuse a lot of this stuff too, as far as this tape that I've been buying. As far as the small little segments. Which I bought a pretty good sized roll of it. Just massage that down. Just keep it kind of rolled a little bit. Don't necessarily want to kink it, but we want to get it to stay put where we want it too. Now, Charles, are you going to use this one in the truck or are you going to use this one in the house? I mean, I know you got that, behemoth in the house, but I know sometimes you like to change things up too from time to time. What are we going to do with you three? What to do, buddy? I guess some small wire here. Just happen to have a piece right here handy. I've been playing around with these little relay circuits and kind of like them to a certain degree. And they're nicer looking than the hand built ones, but no, I did not pick up no lizard. No, I have not been on a date. When do I have time for women in my life? This is my woman right here. Work. Yeah, my work is my woman. Why do you think I'm able to have a Harley and a new vehicle, and something more than a cardboard box to sleep out of? Oh, no, but I do have a friend that is coming up, I think at the end of this month. Haven't seen her in several years. Not necessarily a date, but we went to school together, 30 years ago, which is a scary thought. It's been that long. But I know she's wanting to, meet up and hang out, talk about old times and stuff. She's been living down there in Georgia for, geez, how many years? But, everything's been different. I mean, such as life, still have a few friends that I hang out with from that far back once in a blue moon. Of course, most of them have passed away now, but, there's still a couple of them. This is another one of those things that, although it's mostly built, I still have to put on my own little, wires and, some of the little amenities. But now the ones that I really like, which, these I use for most common stuff. Here it is. Which is, it's basically the same thing, only it uses the, larger transistor. And, they're able to actually take a little more abuse and do a little more current draw. So, unlike the 30 amp relays and stuff like that, once I'm out of these smaller ones, I might, for no more extra money than it costs, to go up to, the bigger transistor, because of the way the circuit is designed, I can actually put a really low input voltage from the RF into one of these and still make it key. But I've got these mainly for, the 30 amp relays, or if I'm doing 2 relays off the same keying circuit. These are great. I still prefer the way I'm doing it, which is using that 3-pole relay for the biasing. This is just, by far the better format to use. Because you don't have the extra relay in there. You've got less moving parts that could go bad, and cause other issues. And I've built with, using 2 relays for so many years, and it's kind of a hard habit to break, to be truthful, because you get used to building a certain way, and then you have to, look at making some slight changes. So, but anyhow, let's get this in here.
There's turkey wrap. We have to get something written at keto. No chicken sandwich. Which one do you want?
Either one. Let's see. No, I'm not gonna pull a bunny out of the hat or a steel tube. What do you need?
Sure, got some chips.
Oh, I can actually cure that problem if you'll go into the kitchen. Next to the stove, there's a cabinet there. Open it up. There's 2 or 3 different kinds in there. Ah, got out of the way too soon. Here I get dressed up for you people, and all you can do is joke about my shirt. Of course, the last time I had a whole bunch of keying circuits made up, man, it took me forever. Well, it seemed like forever, anyways. I had a good year's supply made up. I sent 3 made a whole bunch of parts and said, here, I just need X, Y, Z, keying circuits made, and you can go ahead and keep the rest of the parts to go ahead and make you up some too. Because he was sitting there twiddling his thumbs one day and said, man, I'll sit down and make you up some. So I sent him the parts and he made me up. Matter of fact, I think I've still got, I don't have many left that I'm still using on. I think that's all I got left out of the ones that you made up 3. Because you made me up like 100 of them. Well, hello, Josh. Good evening time, buddy. No, I actually do happen to like Johnny Cash. Wow. That's kind of rough, kind of brutal. Yeah.
Isn't bad.
Yeah. Oh, I bet it was.
Between the line and the sink.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. But I've been underneath there and everything. It looks fine. It's just. It's definitely different 3, that's for sure. Okay. Oh, I know what I was going to grab. I got offset by reading some of the comments. No, that's not it. Oh, there they are. I thought I ordered some. Sorry, guys, I'm sitting there reading some of the comments and trying to get myself caught up here with you. Hey, 3, is it a good idea to put these in on that bar? Yep, for a man that had never, ever used them and didn't see any sense in it. I bet you probably still thank me to this day for that. Now, what the heck are you saying? Drop kick. Man, you couldn't get your foot up high enough to sit there and tie your shoe, let alone drop kick somebody. Yeah, I'm waiting to see his next response. There we go. You can get in and out of your truck. Yeah, you'd kick him on the drop down. There we go.
It's a good thing you got them trucks because fat girls can't climb.
Yeah. That's funny.
Good thing you don't have a big shiny spot.
Probably so.
Move here, start to actually pull back.
Yeah, you was telling me about
Yeah.
that.
I don't think I've been putting as much clothes in there lately as I should, but thanks for just going back. Wow.
It's a good thing. Well, Charles, apparently you've never been down there where Three's at there in the Carolinas. I heard fat girls can climb anything. What are we gonna do with you, Three? Alrighty, let's get that cut. Let's get that put in. I'm waiting for another comment. Too busy laughing, yeah. Yeah, it's an added expense to put a couple of diodes in, but man, what it can save you. Yeah, I rarely use them, but I do actually own a pair of strippers. And no, not the ones from the local bar. Oh. Well, you two need girlfriends worse than I do, and and one of you's even married. The other one's got a girlfriend that lives with him. So there we go. Yeah, I have used little nippers for so long on most of this stuff that sometimes I forget that there is something as simple as a pair of actual wire strippers. Some of your comments, Three. Some of your comments, buddy. Yeah, speaking of the LD Moss, though, going back to that subject, like I said, I'd kind of like to get into that a little bit. I know the span of the chip, which I think is the BLF 188, I think is one of them. It's actually got a pretty good bandwidth, I guess. There's a couple different variations in that same format. But again, like I said, I've kind of looked into, but it's been out long enough now in the last 5 years that I think enough people have got the bugs worked out of the system. But it'll be, like I said, it'll be sometime next year before I can even attempt such a thing. Just because I've just got a large amount of work yet that's ahead of me, that I got to get done. So, all right, let's snip that right about there. Let's look and see how that's going to lay in there. should put me about where I want to be. Yep, pretty close. Okay. Right around. Okay. Well, apparently I was off by an inch. I made my cut, which means I got to make that whole thing again. It's all right because I know it's long enough. I can use this for an input on another one. So not a deal breaker, no big deal. Like I said, I can use that on probably the MRF 454 box that I've got. I'll be able to utilize that one because of the size of the transformers. They're a lot smaller with them being 1/2 inch versus the 5/8 core. So it'll be just about perfect for that. I have no idea who that is, 3.
Close enough, warm right
Hmm?
here. Oh, it's warm, but feels good.
Good. I wonder where I put those. Yeah, I'm thinking I may have to turn the heater down now.
Feels pretty darn good to me.
Well, yeah. Just come outside, yeah. Yep, I do not know that name at all, 3, so I wouldn't get the reference on that one. Amazon. Mm-hmm.
Some similar. Same stuff.
This one's kind of nice because it's actually got, you can plug it in, and it's got the built-in back massage. Yeah.
I'm thinking of getting a chair because the one I got, I mean, it was a used chair, and it's nice to start with, but I've had it a couple of years, and all the stuff is peeled off of it now, and it's down to the cloth. It's just got pieces of it hanging on paper. It's still usable, you know. It's better shape than the one that's sitting next to it. I mean,
Well, I've
it's more
got an office
comfortable.
chair that I just put outside today. If you need another one for, time being.
Well, I mean, this will work for now, and I'm thinking about getting another chair and just setting that one back there and throw a cover over it, and she can sit there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I said, it's going to similar to this, because I got to have something comfortable to sit there. Got to.
Yep. Well, not all of us can work from home either. Some of us actually have to get out of bed and go to work.
I know.
Look her up.
Unfortunately, we have to sometimes get out and hit the plant and do fit checks. So how close are you to finishing?
Pretty close. We're getting there.
Ooh, it's almost different.
Yep. Alrighty. Sometimes, guys, these get a little fickle. Just trying to get that wire through them. Okay, this is called a combiner, it's called a combiner or splitter. Since this is going on the output side of the amplifier, it's actually a splitter. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's just depending on whether it's on the input or on the output as to whether it's a combiner or a splitter. So since this one is being used as a splitter, all it's doing is, or combiner, I'm sorry. Now this one's splitting it because it's one input going to two outputs, if you will, for the combiner. And in this case, we're going from two outputs back to one input in order to go ahead and complete the entire circuit. So,
You do the wire loops wrap.
mm-hmm. change.
And what is that, Jim?
Okay, well, the wraps, what they do is they actually change or add inductance.
Okay.
So that way, when the two signals from the left side and the right side, basically it allows them to come together.
Hmm. I can see, oversee the formula for the inductance. Capacitance, inductance.
Yep. Capacitance, inductance, and resistance are the three primaries of the circuit. Okay. Let's get rid of solder. Touch that up.
What do you do?
Mm,
Is there solder on
no. Just had a frizz or something. All right. Turn that little piece there off. There we go. See if I can't bend that just a little bit. It keeps the combiner looking straight anyways. Okay. Yeah, we're almost to a point here, Charles, where we'll break off and go to the actual case here in a minute. I mean, I've kind of been doing this one kind of in my sweet time as far as this evening. I mean, I could have rushed a little bit more, but the other side of that too is with the coating that I put on these boards, it actually is a little more difficult to solder to, so you can't just tap it with the iron and go, ta-da, it's done. You know, you actually have to work it a little bit in order to go ahead and get it to lay in there just the way you want it. Oh, good Lord. You guys need some serious help this evening. You both need a little help. Yeah, I think you're going to like the case, Charles. You know, I've had a couple of them done, and one of which I've got in one version. You're going to have the what I call the final version as far as on the case for these. It's just kind of nice. It's going to be different than anything you've gotten from me yet. There we go. Put this in, cut a couple pieces of wire here, and then we'll be ready to go. The input, I'll wait until I get ready to actually tune it. I want to check a couple of things here before I decide which one I'm going to go with. Yeah. I know. I got a pair of wire strippers.
I got a couple of them.
Like I said, guys, old habits are hard to break. Slight little trim. Get a hold of the edge of it. Now, granted, I know we still got to finish up with the biasing and stuff, but like I said, I want to show you that case here real quick while we're thinking of it. That out of my way. I know it looks black. But the top of it's actually got a texture to it. With the you can see my toolbox in the back, the glossy finish. But we'll get that one all labeled up and taken care of for you, and I think you're gonna like that. Well, after 3.
Not ready to go to church anymore.
What's going on here? There it is. Like I said, I think you'll like it. The camera really doesn't do it justice. Well, I'm hoping I get my other cases. I'm hoping they'll be in here this next week. Like I said, I know that they've been sitting on the docks waiting, so I am definitely going to have to sell some amps. Oof. Because that hurt the old pocketbook. Some amps and some power supplies. Yeah, like I said, whenever I get the other stuff in, Charles, I'll have to send you a picture of it. Because like I said, I think you're going to really like where some of this next step's going. And just like I've been talking to another vendor about, he's only got 1 or 2 cabinets that he carries, but I think I can have, if I put in a large enough order, I can have some modifications done to it and may be able to, get a little bit better pricing on certain aspects of it. Solder these in, then we'll put the other capacitor in there. This stuff quits moving on me. That one for the left. And that one for the right. Yeah, so it'll be easier because I don't have all the stuff in the way. Alrighty, guys. Tell you what, I am gonna stop here. I know we've still got a little bit more to put in here and then drop in the case. But I'm actually gonna stop right here. That way I can visit with my friend for just a few minutes before he takes out. But we'll come back tomorrow and I'll have this one finished up. Probably be a couple of quick short videos, and then depending on where I'm at, we may go ahead and do a more lengthy one, just based on the workload and what I've got taken care of. All right, guys, I appreciate it. Like I said, we're going to call it an evening for the moment, and we'll talk at you later. All right, everybody, take care. God bless. Thanks for each and every one of you popping in here and visiting. If you would, please hit the like and subscribe if you're not a subscriber already. And we'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.